So to get your x and y intercept, to get your x, you plug in 0 for y. To get your y, you plug in 0 for x. So x-intercept, plug in 0 for y. Set that equal to 0. 2x squared over x squared minus 4 equals 0. You would multiply both sides by x squared minus 4. X squared minus 4 times 0 is going to cancel out. So really you end up just getting the top equals 0. It's fine if you just think of x-intercepts, set the top equal to 0. There's nothing wrong with that. That'll work every single time. X-intercepts, numerator equals 0. So what's our x value? Solve this out. Divide by 2, you get 0. Square root of 0 is 0. So x equals 0. That's our x-intercept. X equals 0. To get our y-intercept, you plug in 0 for x. When you plug in 0, you get 0 over 0 minus 4. So that's 0 divided by negative 4, 0. Which makes sense because we already had a dot there at 0. That should be the y-intercept. Vertical asymptotes. For vertical asymptotes, you set the denominator equal to 0. Whoa. Vertical asymptote, you set the denominator equal to 0, so you take x squared minus 4 equals 0. And we're solving that. So we're going to add 4 over. You get x squared equals 4. Square root both sides. You get x equals plus or minus the square root of 4. We got 2 of them. X equals 2 and x equals negative 2. 2 vertical asymptotes. X equals 2 and x equals negative 2. For the horizontal asymptote, you take the highest degree of the entire function, x squared. X squared is the highest degree of the whole thing. The coefficient of x squared up top is 2, and the coefficient of x squared on the bottom is 1. 2 over 1 is 2, so our horizontal asymptote is y equals 2. And then you draw it in. Y equals 2. And there's our x and y intercept again. So now he's got to draw the graph. Since we only have a little bit of information because we only have that 1 point, we got to plug in a couple of numbers. Let's plug in like 3 or 4. And we'll plug in negative 3 or negative 4. So to get some more values, because right now all we know is that it's going to pass through 0, 0, we're going to plug in more numbers like 3 or 4, and we'll also plug in negative 3 or negative 4 to see where the graph goes. You have to plug in more numbers so you know what it's doing. So let's plug in 3. When you plug in 3, 3 squared is 9 times 2 is 18. When you plug in 3 on the bottom, you get 3 squared is 9. 9 minus 4 is 5. So you get 18 over 5. 18 over 5 is a little bit more than 3. Like 3.6. So when you plugged in 3, we got 3.6. There's 3.6. There's our dot. So now we know that the graph fits in that section of our asymptotes. So it goes with the asymptote, through that dot, and like that. In between, it has to go with the asymptotes and through that dot. So we still need some values on the left side of all these asymptotes. So the asymptote's at 2, so we're going to go at -2. So let's go a little bit further to like -3 or something. So plug in -3. -3 squared is 9 times 2 is 18 again. -3 squared again is 9. Minus 4 is still 5. So when we plug in -3, we get the exact same answer. Plug in -3, we get 3.6 again. So there's our dot. So then draw that section with the asymptotes through that dot, and we've got our graph. You just need at least 1 point in each part so you know where to draw the function.